So let's get started on tonight's topic. As you know, it is a very challenging time on the planet. We're going through some tensions, and I'd like to. We're entitling tonight's talk that "No More War," and you might have seen that we had posted a statement about that saying no more war. And it spoke about how we can all collectively neutralize negativity and um, we'll call hostile thoughts between nations with the powers of our own mind, meaning that collectively, if there's enough people in the world that unite in the in a much more higher realm of mind and bring to the world much more positive and powerful thoughts, that we can actually change the trajectory of humanity. Now, when we put up that statement, it prompted all sorts of different responses. And that was good. It was expected. And as you can see, we've just put it up again to show you. Now, what kind of responses did we get? Well, we had those that agree that the power of the mind is such that if humanity did bond together, that we could change the world. We can bring peace to the world. But then there was a few people that thought it was a little bit, pie in the sky, and how's that ever going to happen? And dream on type of response. And you know what? That's okay too, because all of us have to dig a little deeper to find out within just what are you capable of doing with your own mind. And if we do bring our minds together, what are we all capable of doing? And so we're going to start this talk tonight on the discussion about mind. Now, I have another rhetorical question for you. Can love alone change the world? Can love all by itself, love, the glue of humanity, the most sublime essence of the principle of creation, love, can that alone change the world? And I think that we really have to look at other powers that we have within us, that not only is it the love we share about with each other and for humanity, that unless we have our thoughts lifted up into a much stronger direction together, and we have some motivation of willpower, I don't think love on its own is going to be successful. I think it has to be a blend. And I welcome your comments on that, of course. Do you think that love alone is enough? Now, love is a powerful, powerful healing tool. It is let's say an actual attribute of each one of our hearts around the world and within ourselves. So love should be predominant throughout the world. But when we talk about mind, and when we talk about how mind can change our reality, that's something that I think all of us should dive into a little deeper. Now, what's happening in the world right now? You see yourself in one of many responses to the tension in the world. Some of you will be responding with fearful thoughts. Some of you will be responding with some anger, or some will be happy. You will have all sorts of different responses to what's going on in the world as we talk about the tensions in the Middle East. Now, since there is such a vast difference in responses, I have another question for you then. Why is it that some people are pressed into fears or insecurities or worries and stresses? Why? Why such a varying degree of response? Now, if we all had a very strong mind, and we had our minds working to direct our thoughts towards positive change where each one of us and collectively could think about how we can better our lives amongst economically and environmentally and in a humanitarian way, if politically, if we could all move our thoughts towards that positive strength, wouldn't we see a different outcome? Couldn't we start seeing better consequences of all our thoughts and our actions? Well, I think yes, but the thing is, how do we bring everybody together, united in a higher essence or a higher state or status of our mind? How do we do that? Well, that's something that Lee and I here at Spirituelle Society have been talking about for some time. We have studied a great deal of spiritual studies, and we're well aware. We'd like to share with you, of course, the thoughts that there are varying degrees of mind. Like we could say we're an intelligent human family, where a lot of us are very intellectual, very highly intellectual. But is that enough? Is that enough? Because when we have people intellectually gathering, sometimes there's something else missing, is there not? Is there not some other points that are missing when we just think about intellectual or very intelligent people getting together? What about then the morals, the ethics, the values, the humanitarianism? What about the motivation to take ourselves into alignment with something much greater? So there's the intelligence. We're not doubting. There's obviously great intelligence on this planet, but where's that super higher soul-based mind? Where is that mind that reaches beyond the shuffling of on the earth, shuffling of the global, strategies, and I want this and you want that? Where's the mind? The mind is, when I talk about this super mind or this higher soul mind, that is a different level of mind. It's not at the intellect alone. It's something much greater. Now, that is the goal of this talk tonight, and the goal of Spirituelle Society is to bring people together to talk about how we can unite for the greater good, to move the human family in a new direction, and speak to the fact that we have to use a higher level of our mind, greater reflection. Where's the reflection? When we talk about the intellect alone, it tends to be logical and concrete and based in, just down here in the facts. But where's the reflection? Where's that? Where do we join together and reflect on long-term, short-term consequences, impacts, the experiences that each of the human beings are going through when we charge the atmosphere with such tension, when we charge it with such insecurities of what's the future going to bring? Well, how is that impacting each one of us? How is it impacting the children? How is it impacting families when they're concerned about where do they put their finances? Is the world going to go into a topsy-turvy? Is there going to be enough food on the shelves? All sorts of things come up. And what about the areas of the world that are getting actual destruction occurring? It's not something that is just over there. It's impacting all of us because we are all one family. Now, when we start to unite in our thoughts and reflect and discuss things together, and I mean together, you see, we the people, or the people of the earth, have to have an opportunity to share what they're thinking and what they're reflecting and how they're feeling. Is anybody listening? I think not, because otherwise we wouldn't have these pockets of so much tension and wars and upsets and inequalities happening around the world. So let's pull it down though. Let's pull it down, because we can get really big and out of, well, it can go in a lot of directions. So what we want to look at is a few things. First of all, with all the wonderful groups out in the world that are doing good work, Why are they so, again, rhetorically speaking, why are they scattered all over the place? And so they're all vying for, like, they're trying to get attention and trying to get their voices and their messages out into the world. Why can't we bring everybody together? And so, what Lee and I are doing and will continue to do each Sunday night is we want to invite each of you in your wonderful groups that are doing good work out there. Let's start talking together. If we could highlight your work, if we could talk to you and you could share with us, we could start sharing with the world that it's not a scattering, it's not a mind that is fragmented, because collectively we feel and look very fragmented. We look like we're pockets all over the place and there's no unification. And so the picture of tension or war or hostilities, it goes far beyond the fighting. It goes far beyond the bombing and the atrocities of weaponry and killing and maiming. It goes far beyond that. We're looking at a world that they were not thinking together. We're not reflecting together. We're all over the place. And so off over here is destruction and mayhem. And then over here is people trying to have a nice Sunday dinner and raise their children. It's like, what's with all the different pockets? And then we have subsets of all of that. And so let's go into that. What is the problem with the people and the hostilities? Why is everybody fighting over territory and raw natural resources, raw products, oil, gas, rare minerals, forestry, animals, you name it? Why are we're all fighting over these things? If we could take all these wonderful groups that are out there, the not-for-profit, the voices of the people that are looking after and want to look after the children, the animals, the poverty, the forests, the oceans, the air, you name it. If we could bring everybody together and unite in mind and reflect with higher mind, what are we going to have? We're going to have a stronger group of people across the planet that are going to stand up and say, look, we've got a lot that we want to say. And instead of something being shut down and shut down and shut down, there's power in numbers, and energy follows thought. Now, we do know, I can mention one that we don't have any guests on tonight, but there is one gentleman, a Canadian environmental scientist, Dr. Robert J. Waters, who has started a movement called the At What Cost movement with his Water Star. Water Star is double R at the end, WATERSTARR, waterstar.com. And he has started a movement and he has a message. And I'm just highlighting him because his goal is to share with the world the imbalances of the various subsets and starting with the imbalances you can see on his website of the elements of the world, and his bigger picture as to why humanity is failing. It's all disjointed. And so he has a movement. Now, this movement is not, again, just to isolate one. His goal is to educate and enlighten people on the risks that we're taking, that humanity is taking, of disturbing the elements. And certainly I ask and invite each of you to please go and have a look at his movement. But that beyond even, and we'll have him as a guest very shortly on the Spiritual Society here on Sundays. But we would like other guests to join in as well. We would like you to come forward and contact us and say, look, we have a strong message to unite the human family. We're interested in the kingdoms, or we're the kingdom of animals, or we're interested in the human family. We're interested in the impact of displacements of war and the impact it has on children and the lives of so many, and families being separated and harmed and killed and maimed in so many ways. This is where we need to talk. And not only do we have the power to talk and unite, we have the power to change things. Now, what is the difficulty with having a fragmented and weak human family of mind? What is the problem? What is the problem? It's easily subjected to propaganda and manipulation and subliminal teachings and I'm sorry, the trickery of presentations. It's easily swayed, and a weak mind is not an asset, an attribute of us as divine human beings. Did the creator say, oh, I'll make all you human beings and you're going to have weak minds? No, we have powerful, inherently powerful minds. Why aren't we using them? Why are we not thinking and reflecting on the consequences of our actions? And so here at Spirituelle Society, we want to talk about the mind. We want to talk about the fact that whatever is challenging you to feel so confused and upset and emotionally charged and displaced and all of that, like disempowered. Well, that's not your natural state. And you know that. You know there's something wrong, but you don't know how to change it. You're struggling with trying to figure out how to change it. Why? Because it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming when each day it's the same old, wondering, where the next shoe is going to drop or where your next dollar is going to come from. And here at Spirituelle, what Lee and I are doing is we're going to be, and you're going to hear a lot about this, we're going to take it on to tour. We're going to teach people how to access the higher soul mind, the super mind, instead of being stuck and trapped in the limitations of just the struggle to build the intellect. The intellect is a powerful tool. It's a fabulous tool. It is your database, but without reflection, what is it? If there is no reflection, if there is no humanity in the nature of our day-to-day activities here, we end up with wars. We end up with destruction and the disappearing of what makes our world a great planet, which makes our human family a great race. We are, relative to the other kingdoms, we are supposed to be a superior race upon the planet, the human family, the human race. And so that type of dedicated categorization is only allotted to us because we have the potential for both strong intellect and incredible reflection. Now, if we're not reflecting, that's both sides of the brain. And if we're not reflecting, we've got a problem. And so the super mind and the super power of our souls has to be accessed. Otherwise, we're going to be turning on the TV or turning on the social media and seeing all more nonsense. Oh, we're bombing this, we're tension that, we can't stand. I didn't want to say the word HATE, but that word amongst each other. Warmongering, turning people against people. And that's not our human family. So when that statement says, we, the people of this world, neutralize all evil between nations with the power of our hearts, our minds, and souls, now we have spoken. It's meant to be a statement that all of us can embody. We have spoken. We are not going to continue with this cycle. Wars are cyclic. They go on and on and on. And it's always about the lower nature of the human being caving to the destructive lower thoughts, caving to the old emotional baggage that goes on for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And it's a cycle, and it's a weary cycle. And the human family is tired of this weary cycle of lower mind. We were not born with lower minds. We were born to be geniuses of our highest potential, based in love and based in light and based in truth, and to look out for one another and to thrive together. That's the human family. And what you're seeing out there, I don't know what you want to call it, but it sure isn't divine. That is not a divine state that we're seeing our world in. We're seeing this trajectory to move, to fragment and separate and move us further away from our human higher consciousness and higher mind. It's like distracting away when in fact you don't feel well. You don't feel right. And you say, what's going on with me? I don't feel well. I'm not motivated. Though everyone looks so sad, or when they are happy, it's only short term. They try to lift up their spirits and their willpower is drained. And what's going on? Now, that is a lower state of the human family's consciousness, then it's dropped. And that's not our reality. That is not the reality that was assigned to us at our birth. And so when we turn around and face each other with love in our hearts and say, how are you doing? How are you doing over there on the other side of the world? How are you doing in Australia, in France, in Germany, in the Northern European countries, in Mexico, along the islands, out in Hawaii, everywhere, Japan, the Far East? How's everybody doing? And you know what we have? We have a human race that just wants to live their lives in a normal, developing, beautiful way with self-reflection. The children can experience things they're excited to experience that is new to them. And instead, they have to concern themselves with what's going to happen, with people being taken down, and then another one could be taken down, and another one. And also, this is not necessary, and it is not written like this. And people say, oh no, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's written. It's written in the scriptures, and it's written in this. And you know what I would say now to that? As I ask each one of you, and I ask you this with the greatest sincerity in my heart, if it is so written, where's the power that was invested in us at birth that is in the image and similitude, or the absolute emanation of the divine from where we come from? We are divine inherently. We are an emanating energy intelligence. And you're saying it's written that we're supposed to kill each other? That's written that these cycles are supposed to kill us? Did anybody think that you can break the cycle? Did anybody think through reflection that those cycles that are predictable, very predictable, aren't they? Oh, a war, the peace, the deception, the war, the so-called peace, the deception. If that's not predictable, I don't know what is. But does that mean we just sit there and say, oh, well, it's a cycle? Now, really, when we were given the mind power to absolutely take that mind through light, through love, through truth, and change our lives. Now, we could go off into all sorts of the higher cyclic times that we're in, higher meaning spiritual, but I'll cut it short here, and I'll bring it back instead to the fact that you have access to the mind. You don't know how to use it, which is fine, because it's not like you're, you went to school and they gave you all these little instructions. They were instructing you to be intellects. You have received, and most of you have received instruction, education, how to be intellectual. You also, many who are fortunate enough to is assigned and register into the arts, or the reflective nature of development in the arts and the that aspect of our creativity. Then there are those of you that went that route. We can use both, and we can use both. So we can use both sides of the brain and not only have our intellect, but have our reflection as well. And that's where this human family needs to go. So before I close here, unfortunately, Lee was not able to join at this time. And so we will be on next week together, and we will continue this conversation. So there's a couple of things I'd like you to walk away with this week, or take away, is the fact that, first of all, we welcome the groups that are bringing their goodness into the world. We want to talk to you, and we want to share your light and your work into the world. I would ask that each one of you think about the fact that there is much more to your human existence each day, that you have a stronger mind that's waiting for you to step up into it. And I'd like you to be on the lookout for our notices and our talks that we are going to be doing. A lot of teaching about accessing the super mind, the soul's higher mind. And so with that, I ask you at this time, if you would just take a moment, and this will be like just for 1 minute together. If you could just close your eyes for 1 minute with me. And if you could just start to breathe deeply and connect with, let's define this as your soul. Thank you. And we will tune into this soul's light. And you just breathe, and you start to think about how beautiful you are inside. This incredible light of your soul. And you can visualize that light of your soul just like the sun in the sky that bathes our earth with rays of light daily. And those rays of light are just the same sort of blessing and love that your soul bathes you with all the time. Every time that you're breathing, you know you're connected to your soul. Now we are all connected, every single one of us. The human family, we're all connected to that light. And if you could please think about how the light of your soul is part of the great ocean of light of the divine. Those are your brothers and sisters out there in the world, all over the world. And at this time, please send out the positive thought that all hostilities are now being neutralized, are now being shifted to positive thoughts to one another, and that we can all live together in peace. Each one of us, let us feel the blessings of this sacred time. And just imagine that your light, your warmth of your mind and heart and soul is going out. And just touching the human family wherever they are, all over the world. And remember, their love and prayers are touching you. Their love and prayers are touching you. And so now, we'll just open our eyes and come back And please remember the human family in your prayers and your thoughts. And we look forward to seeing you again next Sunday at 7 for Spirituelle Society, Sundays at 7. Thank you for joining me. Many blessings.